Then further it is related to the post shipment export finance in foreign currency. So it is first of all related to EBR, that is a rediscounting of the exports bill abroad scheme. It is related to the export bill, it is related to the rediscounting of export bill abroad scheme, that is the EBR scheme. So banks can do what? Banks can do utilize their EFC balances or the DDA account balances or whatsoever foreign currency accounts are with them. RFC account may be there or whatsoever foreign currency accounts with them. So now these particular account balances can be utilized so as to discount the usance bills. Usance bills are those bills in which there is some particular time gap in between so as to collect the bills. So let us take the case that the exporter has drawn a bill and giving a credit of 3 months and giving a credit period of 3 months. Okay, so now the importer will be having the obligation so as to pay the amount, but not instantaneously, and will be paid after a period of 3 months. In that particular case, the finance can be extended to the exporters in the foreign currency also, and the foreign currency reserves with the bank can be utilized for the payment of such advance facilities to the exporter, and also they can do retain the usance bill in their portfolio without resorting to rediscounting. First case, it is that the bank will not resort to rediscounting, and further they will be paying the balances out of their foreign currency reserves and further retaining the usance bills in their portfolio. And banks can also rediscount export bills abroad at rate linked to the international interest rate at post shipment stage. What does it mean? It means the banks can arrange their banker acceptance facility. With the domestic banks or with the international banks. Okay, so in that particular case, they will be rediscounting their export bills. Now, what is rediscounting? Rediscounting means, so the simple criteria is that the exporter has drawn the bills and those have been accepted by the importer and have been given back to the exporter over here. Now, exporter visited the bank, let us suppose the bank XYZ, and further XYZ bank is now having the liability, having the obligation so as to pay the exporter, and further on or and after the due date, the amount will be collected by the XYZ bank. Okay, but in between, XYZ bank is having no liquidity. So now XYZ bank will be doing what? XYZ bank will be having a facility with some other bank who is having the foreign currency reserves, and further XYZ bank will be rediscounting these bills with that particular bank. Let us name it PQR bank. So PQR bank will be providing the liquidity to the XYZ bank, and a share of the profit will be shared by the XYZ bank with the PQR bank. So that is a case related to the rediscounting of the export bills. So this particular part was related to the discounting, but this particular part is now related to what? This is related to the rediscounting. Okay, so banks may arrange a banker acceptance facility for rediscounting of the export bills without any margin and duly covered by the collateralized documents. What does it mean? It means that PQR bank is having no security. PQR bank is having no security because XYZ bank has the obligation, and further the proceeds were assigned in the name of the XYZ bank. The proceeds, while discounting of the export bill was done, the proceeds were assigned in the name of the XYZ bank. Okay, so now XYZ bank is in a secured position, but not the PQR bank. So as to get a rediscounting finance from the PQR bank, XYZ bank will be giving some collateral documents. It will be submitting some collateral documents, and against which, without any margin, the bills will be rediscounting. So if the discounting was done up to the 90%, let us suppose the case that 100 crore bill were there and 90% means 90 crore were extended to the exporter over here, XYZ bank can avail this facility up to 90%. Can avail the 90% of the loan facility without any margin against the collateral documents from some other bank. So that is a banker's acceptance facility. So each bank can have its own BF limits fixed with an overseas bank or a rediscounting agency or an arrangement with any other agency such as factoring agency or some other agency on which is outside India. Is that clear? The exporters on their own can arrange for themselves a line of credit with an overseas bank. So they can also arrange for themselves a line of credit with an overseas bank or any other agency for discounting of their export bills. It may be the case that the exporter has visited the domestic bank and the bank then arranged for the banker acceptance facility. But it may also be the case that the exporter over here, who is having the bills in his name, foreign currency bills in his name, contact some international agency, contact some international bank or some international agency over here, which will be discounting their export bills, and further will be paying the amount directly to the exporter, So that will be related to what? That will be related to discounting the export bill, not the rediscounting. Is that clear? So what is the eligibility criteria for the EBR purposes? So the scheme will cover mainly export bills with usance periods up to 180 days. So only those bills can be rediscounted under the EBR scheme where the usance period is there, and the usance period is maximum up to 180 days from the date of shipment. Inclusive of transit period and grace period, if any. And further, in case borrower is eligible to draw usance bill for periods exceeding 180 days as per that instructions of the FED. So if it is as per the foreign exchange department, the exporter is allowed so as to draw the usance bills beyond the 180 days. Post shipment credit under the EBR may be provided beyond 180 days also. Okay, so under the 180 days, first condition says that the usance bill period must be up to 180 days after the date of shipment, inclusive of the NTP and the grace period, if any. But if exporter is allowed to draw the usance bills under the EBR for a period beyond the 180 days as per the FED, as per the instructions of FED, in that case the EBR facility can be allowed for a period beyond 180 days also. Okay, and the third one, it says the facility under the scheme of rediscounting may be offered in any convertible currency. So it can be offered in any convertible currency. So that is the case related to it. Then it is related to refinance. So banks will not be eligible for refinance from the Reserve Bank of India against export bills rediscounted under the scheme. So if the export bills have already been rediscounted under the EBR scheme, in that particular case, the banks will not be eligible for the refinance from the Reserve Bank of India. In that particular case, the banks will not be eligible for the refinance from the Reserve Bank of India as they have already rediscounted the bills under the EBR scheme. Is that clear? So that is all related to today's video.